That's Pamela Anderson as C.J. Parker in the 90s worldwide TV hit Baywatch. Sudden fame took Anderson from a small town in Canada to a wild ride in Hollywood. But as Jim Axelrod discovers, turns out you can go home again.
After decades away, chasing the bright lights she so badly wanted and catching some she did not, Pamela Anderson has come home.
I was a mess. I came home in pieces.
To the sweeping rustic beauty of the Pacific Northwest.
Well, it's kind of this crazy calmness.
And her hometown on Vancouver Island called Ladysmith.
It's a healing space.
No paparazzi in Ladysmith?
Nothing too bad. I feel very protected here.
Where she found the tranquility she needed to restart her career and reset her life.
I mean, I'm usually running through there barefoot, all times of the year.
Yeah, this is a different kind of beach than the one most people associate you with.
That beach, the one she patrolled in the 1990s TV show Baywatch, had made hers, for a time, into one of the best-known faces and bodies in the world.
Dan's getting away with murder in a bikini. I mean, I didn't have to do anything.
You just had to run along the beach.
In slow motion.
You blew up.
Just took off like crazy. It was like 150 countries. I didn't even know there were 150 countries.
The fame came with some top-shelf chaos. 6 marriages, a case of hepatitis C, and the first sex tape of the internet age, made on her honeymoon with Motley Crue drummer Tommy Lee. But after years of other people telling her story on their terms,
I want to take control of the narrative for the first time.
Pamela Anderson is now telling it on hers. Her memoir and the Netflix companion documentary drop at the end of the month.
I'm writing my book. This documentary is coming out. Then I can put all of this behind me.
All of this is an often harrowing tale.
I imagine you almost had that conversation with yourself. If I'm going to do this, I got to write honestly.
You have to write the full picture.
Which meant describing a childhood shaped by trauma.
There's a scene where your father is holding your mother's head to the stove and you punch your father in the face.
Mm-hmm. These were pivotal moments for me.
She was failed by so many who kids count on to feel safe. Her father.
I was told not to bring the kittens into the house. And I had my kittens in the house. And so he ended up putting them in a paper bag and running down to the beach with me, screaming after him, and he drowned the kittens.
How old were you?
Probably 6 or 7.
The babysitter, she says, sexually abused her.
A female predator. That was tough to understand.
How did that shape you?
Well, it made me trust people, less and less.
She also writes vivid accounts of being raped at 12 and again at 14.
The whole point is not keeping those secrets or those things buried.
Amid all that horror was a small stroke of good fortune. Hired by a beer company to model after she was spotted at a football game in one of their T-shirts, Lucky Break became life-changer when Hugh Hefner saw the ads. Next thing she knew, she was on a plane to L.A.
When the opportunity arose, you must have grabbed it because you could get out of this place where there were so many bad memories.
Yes, and my grandfather taught me, you're not an extension of the small town. You're not an extension of your parents. You're a brand new light given to this planet to do whatever you want with. In adventure, I wasn't afraid of it. I said, let's just go. Let's see where it takes me.
Within months in 1989, she was on the first of 14 covers of Playboy.
You write that you'd been sexualized so young, Playboy was an opportunity for you to take your sexuality back.
With a vengeance. Oh, it's textbook if you want to get into some psychology, but it's facing it and dealing with it in my own way.
Her way included an impulsive marriage to Tommy Lee after knowing him for just 4 days. Her lurch for security turned a bad boy rocker into her own Prince Charming.
Tommy and I fell in love. It felt like this really safe place. He would arrive at the house on a horse covered in a full night gear on, knight in shining armor, and read a scroll to me. It was just so hyper heightened, but it felt good. It felt like, oh my gosh, this is what it's all about. This is true love. It was so romantic. It was so over the top.
But that's not a foundation for sustainable love.
No, it's not a foundation for sustainable love. I haven't done that yet. I haven't figured that part out yet.
She may have been trying to buffer pain with a fairy tale, but there would be no happily ever after.
After being with Tommy, after that tape was stolen.
Ah, yes, that tape, the one she and Tommy made on their honeymoon. It was stolen from their safe. Their intimate moments turned into a profit center for others.
What do you want people to understand about it?
That it was stolen property, that it was two crazily naked people in love. I mean, we were naked all the time and filming each other and being silly, but those tapes were not meant for anybody else to see. And I've not seen it to this day. It was very hurtful.
I love you, Pam. I've been a fan of yours for so long, but I gotta say, watching you in that sex tape was like a whole new experience for me, because up until then, I'd never seen anyone get gonorrhea before.
She became a painful cultural punchline.
That's right. Miss Anderson is an actress, a model, a writer, a producer. I think for a while she was a hooker.
And she still has time to Tommy Lee's on a yacht in St. Bart's.
Her marriage to Tommy Lee wouldn't survive. Neither would 5 others that came after. She was barely keeping it together, focusing on the 2 young sons she had with Lee.
I was a mother. That saved me. You know, if I wasn't a mom, I don't think I would have survived.
Pamela Anderson knew she had some work to do.
To actually dig into those moments, those things we suppress and repress, and I needed to do this.
Do it alone.
Are you all done falling in love?
I don't know. Right now, it's really good for me to be alone for the first time. You know, I'm usually, people are in and out of my life, or people come into my life, and I thought, you know, the common denominator in all these relationships is me. So I need to work on that.
To conquer the demons, she traveled back to where she'd first confronted them, back home, to the isolation of Ladysmith.
This full circle thing was very therapeutic, and I knew I kind of had to retrace my steps as a kid, and it was very visual and very triggering and very therapeutic to be home. There was a lot of anger. I felt volcanic. This rage was coming out of me, and I thought, whoa, 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 where's that coming from? But just little by little, I started getting stronger and stronger.
Last year, she decided it was time for the next stage of her healing.
You want to know something? I always wanted my name in the papers.
One that would take place 3,000 miles from her home in Canada, on Broadway.
The name on everybody's lips is gonna be
Playing Roxy Hart, the femme fatale in the musical Chicago, to some surprisingly good reviews.
It's good. Isn't it grand?
I wanted to know what I was capable of.
Great.
I need to know that I'm good at something, that I have some talent.
Isn't it fun?
It was frightening, but that's a good feeling. I mean, you want to push yourself out of your comfort zone.
What was the most frightening part of it?
Singing, can't do that. Dancing, can't do that. Acting, can't do that. Like, how am I going to do all 3 together?
But you had great reviews.
Yeah, I know. That was shocking.
Just outside the stage door, Pamela Anderson, at the age of 55, found just what she needed.
I felt rooted for, which was a different feeling than I felt before.
The perfect feeling to bring back home with her,
I feel like I've left here, did something crazy, and came back home in one piece.
where her pain is rooted. And now, so is her healing.
I don't know what I'm capable of. I still don't know, but I think that was the beginning. All the rest of it, it's, behind me. I feel like I'm in a really good place.
Sounds like a nice life.
It's nice. And look around me. I'm very blessed.